Lamed Vav Amud Beis. We began the Mishnah yesterday, but let's take the Mishnah one more time. Good. Ein oigdin es lulav. One cannot bind the lulav ela b'minoi, only with its own min. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Says Rabbi Yehuda, you gotta bind the lulav with a type of item that is for the lulav itself, which today we're going to elaborate on that a little bit more. Wow, the garage is freezing. Can I know? Okay. Ela b'minoi divrei Rabbi Yehuda. And of course, everyone last night already started commenting, is the Shitas Rabbi Yehuda that we already know, which is what? Lulav Sarach Eged. Stay tuned another moment and we will get there. Ein oigdin es lulav ela b'minoi. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Meir Oimer says, Rabbi Meir, afilu bechot b'meshicha. Now, last night, I translated this. I said chot is a string and shamach shicha, which is like a string. And everyone wondered what's the precise translation. So I saw, look at Rashi for a moment. Look at Rashi. It's an interesting Rashi. Rashi says bechot chut shel meshicha. It's almost the same thing. Our Mishnah said what? Bechot b'meshicha. Rashi has bechot shel meshicha. So some say that what Rashi is doing here is Rashi has a different girsa, which means a string of meshicha. Even though meshicha really means a string, it means a linen string. Okay, not to get caught up in the details. I just did find it interesting. The Ilam was bothered by the precise translation, and Lamaisa, we see that it is discussed. Rabbi Meir says, Rabbi Meir, Ma'asav Anshi Yushalayim. There was a story in the people of Yushalayim. They would bind their lulavim bikaminiyos shel zahav, golden strands. Amrulai, they said to him, no raya. Underneath the gold strands, they would put biminoi, they would put its min, they would put regular, we'll call it lulav rings on the bottom, and then gold on top of it. Okay, that was the chazara, and now let's dive into the Gemara. Amar Rava says, Rav, yes?
What's really the finish? Like, it can only be its own min, so the gold underneath.
No, not gold on top, you mean?
Right. So
Yeah.
Gold sandwich in. Why wouldn't that be a problem? Why would that not gold on the outside?
Gold on the outside.
Right, because it's
gold
surrounded by its own mint. So
right.
It's not a problem.
So he's pushing, it's good.
Yes, I'm saying, what's the reason that it wouldn't be good? Of course it would be good.
So again, first of all, well, Zoom just disappeared. First of all,
it's not being bound by the gold.
We don't yet have an answer to your question, but just in the reading of the Mishnah, let's just get it clear. Rameir is telling a story. Oh, the internet's down, that's why. Okay, no. Rameir is telling you.
Oh, yeah, they're working on the flyers.
Yeah, they're working on the thing. But either way, I don't think anyone was on Zoom anyway, so I'm just going to kill it. Anyways, let's get clear. Rameir said over a story that the people of the Anshi Yerushalayim took golden rings on the lulav. So they said, Rameir, no, it's not the story. Meaning, Rameir saw them shaking the lulav, and the lulav was golden rings. They said, Rameir, you missed the boat. It wasn't golden rings. Rameir really was a regular ring underneath. So don't bring a raya from the way that you saw it. That was the detail. And let's go to the Gemara. Let me know if you hold the Naya jalapeno yellowtail is good. I'll let Mr. Sushi, I know he always likes feedback.
Very much on.
It's a new shtickle. He crushed jalapenos this time.
Not every fan of
a nice shtickle. Nice shtickle. No, it's not pesto. It's not pesto. He's very excited about it. The
whole thing is
hacking the kilo today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to do the golden ring. Pasha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Shehakol nihiyah b'dvarim. Maybe. It's really Avi's pointing out, but you're in the next step. It starts with Rameir saw people. He went to Yerushalayim for Yontif, and he saw them walking around with a lulav with golden rings. Says Rameir, look at the people of Yerushalayim. So Avi's pointing out maybe it's Mamash Din Zakeli, and he thought, oh, It's allowed. They said back to him, no, don't bring a raya from what you saw, because there's something underneath it. So if you're just bothered staying underneath it, you can do whatever you want. But by the way, it's not so partial. Surely, if you were right, so let me ask you a question. With all the money and whatever in the world, why does no one have tefillin with some golden? Why does no one have gold on top of their tefillin? Why haven't we come out with? No. The answer is you're not allowed to. Why don't you have a gold etched sheen on your tefillin? The answer you're not allowed to. So just because it's a covering doesn't just mean it's not so pashit that it's going to be mutter. But let's get there. Zogt the Heilige Gemara Amar Rava says Rava afilu bisiv. Afilu b'tziv. Now, what is a sieve? My Gemara says it's a string or a strip that's from the trunk of the tree. Afilu, we did. Afilu bi'ikara didikla. Even we had this whole list was on Lamed Aleph and Aleph. Afilu bi'ikara didikla. Go back to Lamed Aleph and Aleph, everyone, and you'll see all these words. Afilu b'sev, afilu bi'ikra. About 10 lines to the bottom of Lamed Aleph and Aleph.
An ivy.
Oh, very good. This Gemara over here is a carbon copy of the Gemara over there, and you're about to see which everyone last night referenced, which was Rabbi Yehuda, about the necessity to bind your lulav. Here it is. This is really where it belongs. So Amarav afilu b'tzev afilu b'ikar dedekla. The piece from the trunk, some sort of plant matter. We'll leave it at that. V'amarava, and says Rava, my time of Rabbi Yehuda. What is the reason of Rabbi Yehuda? Rabbi Yehuda in the Mishnah taught us that what? You're not allowed to bind it. Elo bimina, only with its own min. Says the Gemara, Kasavar, you know what Rabbi Yehuda holds? Lulav sarich eged. It's a din. It needs to be bound. And therefore what? Sorry. Vimaisa mina achrina. And if you bring another min, have Chamisha mini, it's 5 minim, which surely now we're starting to understand what the potential issue over here is. It's 5 minim. Then what did the Torah say? The Torah said Dalid minim. Din number 1 of the day. Good.
So it could be any one of the other minim.
Yep. Yeah. You could take Hadas.
The pasuk doesn't tell us arba minim. The pasuk just lists 4 minim that you should take.
But it's only 4.
Right, but here the logic is
Only 4. It's only 4.
Adding a fifth should technically be a
V'amar Rava, so says Rava b'na'aminallah, which, by the way, you're right. That's how the Gemara says. What did Rava mean? I feel b'siv, I feel b'kar to tekla. As long as it's from a plant, as long as it's from a part of the thing. Amar Rava b'na'aminallah, to say v'ikra to dilkla, mina dilulavu, mamish the kash the ilam is what bothered by. Rava said a sieve, ikra to dikla, an ivy, a piece of the trunk, a piece of the plant. Frak to Gemara, Rava, how do you know that's a min, a type of the lulav? Titania, we learned in our brayso. Basukos teshu, and Sukkos, one should dwell. Sukkah shall kol dover. Divri Rabbi Meir. You ask your mayor, what is your sukkah made out of? Eat all of the above, whatever you would like. Rabbi Yehuda Omer says, Rabbi Yehuda, not so fast. Ein sukkah, no, you had guess. Fascinating din. Definitely a good trivia. Fi shitas Rabbi Yehuda, what are you going to make your sukkah out of? Ella? Bidalin minim shebel.
Saying the coke crate, don't worry.
No coke crates, no nothing. According to Rabbi Yehuda, you need to use the dalin minim for your sukkah. Fascinating.
for the schach.
For the, well, we don't know yet.
If we say sukkah, don't we use
So,
it means
good. I'll tell you personally, when you read the Gemara,
It's like you use the whole sukkah.
it sounds like it means all sukkah. You are correct that the word sukkah usually does mean schach, and we'll see from the continuation of the Gemara that is what it's going to mean for sure. But at the moment, in my mind, I keep it, all options open. But you are correct. I think actually, if we look at Rashi, let's see if it's a Rashi over here. Rashi says, no, Rashi doesn't say anything yet. Right now, it's open ended. Let's see. Says the Gemara. Amrulai, excuse me, I skipped. Vadid noising. Says Rabbi Yehuda, you know my makar is, you know my sources. Vadid noising literally means, and the din gives. But what that terminology means, it's a kal v'chaim. Vadid noising, I'll tell you a logical reason, a proof that it has to be from the dalin minim. Umalulam. Now listen clearly, because this isn't going to be your classical kal v'chaimer. I'm just foreshadowing the teretz, but it's easier to hear if you know that it's not going to necessarily fit in your brain so simply. But let's go. Uma lulav she'ein noyeg balilas kibiyam. When do you take your lulav? Not by night, by day. Rather, rather what? Only by day. And what do you use it for? A lulav has to only be the dalan minim. Sukkah sheno yages beleilos kibiyamim. Einoi din. Is it not a kalvachaymer? Shaloite ela barbas minim? That it should only be with the dalan minim.
I don't hear that.
So, good. Let's go slowly.
You
Good.
just said sukkah you do by night.
Good. Let's go slow. There is an element of logic, but let's go slow because it's going to blow up in a moment. But let's just try to understand it at very, very face level. Again, a lulav is something that's only by day, and the Torah limits it to the dalan minim.
But it's one of the Adal minim.
It's one of them. Good. But what's that saying? But a sukkah, which is more expansive, more chomer, we'll use the word, more strict, you have to do it day and night. Again, we have to sort of zoom out. Let's go into the world of logic for a moment. Again, a lulav I only have to do by day, an easy mitzvah. The Torah says only the dalan minim. A sukkah I have to do by day and by night. Certainly, it should be limited to these dalan minim. That's what the Gemara says. That is the Kalvachaymer.
And v'samachta v'chagechla, I have to eat the sudas. I should only eat them from Dalet Mina.
Good. So you're going. You're good. No, he's asking that there's no intrinsic connection. A Kalvachaymer generally, let's go back to 6th grade, is if the guy. No. But
then apply.
let me tell you. Let's zoom out. Let's zoom out for a moment. The classical Kalvachaymer is going to be if my little Nissan Sentra could pick up 100 pounds, then certainly a large Honda Odyssey could pick up 100 pounds. That's a classical Kalvachaymer, which means it's talking to the thing that was on the table: weight, size. It makes a lot of sense. Here, they're two abstract, and they're both cars. Here, they're two abstract concepts. Because a lulav is only by day and has this specific din of dalan minim, so a sukkah, which is day and night, should also have the din of only dalan minim. What does that do with the price of tea in China? What shaykhs?
It's rough.
Good. But that is what the Gemara says. Says the Gemara, Amrulai. Now the way the Gemara attacks it.
This is more.
The opposite would make a lot more sense, actually.
What do you mean?
That because it's day and night, you should have more
More-
flexibility of.
They're looking at the day and night as more of a mom.
It's just the day.
But they're looking at the day and night as more of a mom.
Right. So the Gemara,
That way also, but they're looking at.
right. So the Gemara is looking at it as a chumrah. But says the Gemara, let's go. Amrulai. So again, the truth is, what's bothering all of us around this table is not really the Gemara's kasha, but it's a very good question, and I believe it is discussed because in the world of Kal V'chaimers, this is difficult. But I before we go into the next side of the Gemara, there is a way, if we were to think about it enough, it could be explained. Let's see what the Gemara says. Amrulai, they respond. This is Rabbi Yehuda. So it says Rabbi Yehuda, fascinating din. This is the trivia that will attend the Masechta. One's going to have to remember. Who holds that your sukkah has a din of dalan minim? Sounds much like a Purim riddle. A sukkah has a din of dalan minim with sheikhs. A lulav has a din of dalan minim. The answer is Rabbi Yehuda. Why? Because in this fascinating Kal V'chaimer, says Rabbi Yehuda. Amrulai, the Chacham respond to Rabbi Yehuda, Kol din. Any Kal V'chaimer, listen to the way they attack him. Shata don chilasoi lahachmir. That you're coming to start to be stringent. V'soifai, but at the end, you're ending up lahakel. Einoi din is not a Kal V'chaimer. Okay, what does that mean? Explains the Gemara. On the top of Lam Zayin Amalf. Loi matza arba'as minim. This is a very, very difficult line of the Gemara. Loi matza arba minim. Let's say, so your Shitas Rabbi Yehuda, you went to Yeshivas Rabbi Yehuda. Little did you know this is going to be a difficult endeavor. You show up Elul, Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur is good. It comes to build your sukkah. You'll pull out your pop-up sukkah and they say, no, not over here, buddy. Yeshivas, let's sukkah, slach, who cares right now? Yeshivas Rabbi Yehuda, only dalan minim. Strange, bizarre who has leftover lulavim to put on their sukkah. Okay, so you don't have it. So what happens? You don't have it. Says the Gemara, "Loi matzah arba'as minim." If you don't find the dalin minim for your sukkah, you're gonna sit ubatel, and you're not gonna have a sukkah. You're gonna be batel. You're gonna be
You
without a
don't have
sukkah.
an arba for the sukkah.
For the sukkah, because according to Rabbi Yehuda, again, your sukkah needs dalin minim. Again, let's just do schach. It's easier to understand.
Okay.
Your schach needs to be made of lulav branches, hadas maravis. So you don't have it. I don't have a sukkah. Rabbi, what do you want? I don't have a sukkah. So what are you going to do? You're going to say to Batel, and you're not going to get the mitzvah. So what's the problem? I don't have a tefillin. I'm not going to get the mitzvah. But the problem is, the HaTorah Amra, what does the Torah say? This really brings out the kasha. It's an interesting way the Gemara formulates it. It's very difficult, but the knockout punch is geshmak. VaTorah Amra b'sukkah is teishvu shivas yamim. Sukkah shall call davar. Sukkah of anything. So before we get involved in the nitty gritty details, the Rabbanan are very upset. Rav Yehuda comes along with a fascinating, convoluted kalva chaymer to say your sukkah needs dalaminim. Say the Rabbanan, Rav Yehuda. You're getting Mr. Fancy Lumdish guy in the base magic. Calm down. Says in the Torah, Basukkah Teishu Shivas Yamim. You know what that means? Kol davar. It's a drasha. It's a pasuk which includes everything. So Chachamim argue. End of Gemara. Now, I will be honest, and we'll take a moment and look through Rashi. The reading of the Gemara is very, very difficult the way we just read it. Because if you does a kal v'chaymer, the Chum respond and say it's a pasuk. They're not talking to each other.
Rashi is saying it's not a kal.
So, but again, we're gonna get there one moment. The problem just is, or surely the problem is, but then the Chachamim continue with a knockout of a pasuk. If they're arguing in logic, argue in logic. Finished.
The Gemara started to answer with logic.
And then it went into a pasuk.
Said, and by the
By the way, it's a pasuk. Good. So, good.
You know, it's not like period, and it's like
No, because read the Gemara.
but the pasuk explains what the first line of the Gemara is in.
Also, is there
Good.
answers
Good.
that
Let's see
if
Rashi.
what if you don't find the arba minimum? As if like if you say it's with arba minimum, it's very hard to find it.
Oh, good.
Like, the Gemara was
You can say that about anything. You could say it's very hard to find typical stock.
the hadas.
Right,
Good.
Good. Says the Gemara. Let's understand it. Let's look at Rashi. But the reason I wanted to break it down this way is because, to be honest, if we don't get the nitty gritty details of Rashi, we have what we call the tsura, the form of the Gemara. Rav Yehuda held a unique din daled minim. His source was a kal v'chaymer, an interesting kal v'chaymer at best. The Rabbanan responded, your kal v'chaymer is resulting in leniencies that you're not going to have a sukkah, and the Torah says you should have any form of sukkah. That's the basic setup. Now, we didn't though address the knockout. What was the issue? So now let's go into Rashi. Says Rashi, bottom Rashi and Amud Beis. Amrulai. Kol din kal v'chaymer. Any kal v'chaymer shata done that you judge. Shatchilase lahachmer. In the beginning, we're being stringent. V'soifei lahakel einay din. Says Rashi. Kal v'chaymer. A kal v'chaymer. Shata maschil lidroish. That you begin to expound al yidei chaymer sheyesh bai, on the stringency that it has. Lahavi lechaymer acher bekalva lahavi lechaymer acher, to bring another chaymer. What does that mean? Which is generally kal v'chaymer's work. Let's go back to our car example. The lighter car could hold a lighter weight. The bigger car could hold a bigger weight. That you're bringing a
Starting
chaymer.
with chaymer, then you're going to.
Bekal v'chaymer minakal ki goin zeh. But however, excuse me, 1 second. Minakal, a chumra from the kal, kigoin zeh, v'soifei shata mekel alav b'chaymer zeh shavisa b'ishu nefach la'akal in a kal v'chaymer. You're coming out the exact opposite. That's not a good kal v'chaymer. She'edin melamid alav chaymer, v'atamevi alav kal. So what Rashi is bringing out is as follows. Is that
you're being calm.
Oh, the net result of a kal v'chaymer has to be if the kal could do it, the chaymer could do it. What we're saying is now let's go into what we said. If the lulav, which is only used for day, needs this din. So now the sukkah, which is used for everything, which is the chumrah, certainly should have this din. Wait, certainly should have this din. Is this din a chumrah or a kal? Is the din that your sukkah needs dalaninim a chumrah of a kal? The Gemara is saying it's a kal because you can end up without a sukkah. Now you might say
The Havamina was out of the.
the Havamina was that was the chumrah. The response is no. But in logic, you're right. That's why don't be deterred. Your chayir of eating this creates a matziv of cow because you don't have a sukkah. That's what the Gemara is saying. Which is again, I'll be honest. In logic, it's hard to wrap your brain around because isn't that what chumras are? If I tell you that to be yaitz the mitzvah matzah, you need to eat 5 matzahs. Oh, cow, I'm not guilty to do it. But it.
Maybe that's why the Gemara now brings the
Maybe. The real answer is that a chumrah
is not good.
in logic, a chumrah has to be absolute. It can't be that you create almost an impossibility that results in everyone being makel. To get up and shtel chumras that no one could do, and therefore we have to result to kulas, is not a chumrah at all. That's what the Gemara is saying. Right. It's a mayurdik alumdis that the Gemara is teaching us. Oh, shkoyach, you design fancy footwork a chumrah. Well, guess what? You can't do it. So you end up with a kal that you don't have a sukkah. That's what the Gemara is saying. Let's see one Marashi, just because we have this beautiful. Misukah. Nimsa zehakal v'adin hoya melamid choymer, and you should have taught me a stringency mitchilas k'darashta ma lulav akal shinoi balilas kibiyamim yishver choymer zeshin legal dalminim sukkah chamura shenayis balayla certainly should, but you're gonna end up with a kal. You're not gonna have your sukkah, and we have a pasuk of 60 shuviskamim that it should be easy to have a sukkah and not difficult. And with that, we'll pause before Ezra. It's a small Gemara, but it's a difficult Gemara in comprehension. The reading happens to be not so difficult, but either way, let's pause here and let's try to get the reading down pat.